In this video, we're going to continue working on our friend system, and more specifically, we're going to work on canceling a friend request. So far we've got sending, we've got querying, we've got declining, we have removing, I think, and now we're working on canceling. So this is the fifth and final request, if I'm correct, and we have done all of those. But anyway, we're going to work on canceling. Let's take a look at the production, or let's take a look at the test environment, and I'll outline kind of what this is going to look like. So here I am. I'm at Florian's profile, who's another user on my development website. So what we want to do here is when I send him a friend request, I want to be able to click this and cancel that friend request. That's what we're going to work on in this video. Now again, this is going to be very similar to what we've been doing with the other requests. We're going to start in views.py inside of the friend app and build a function for canceling that. So define cancel friend request and take request and arguments and keyword arguments. First of all, get the user. So user equals request.user. And then we want to do payload equals an empty Python dictionary if request.method equals a post request and the user is authenticated. Then I want to do user ID. We're going to get this from the payload of the post request. So request.post.get, and the keyword there is going to be the receiver user ID, the person who is receiving that friend request. Now, if that user ID does not equal none, then we can get that receiver. So just do receiver equals account.objects.get. The primary key is then going to equal that user ID that I have from the arguments from the post request. Now I want to do try. Whoops, I can use Python to actually auto-complete that for me. So try, and I want to get all of the friend requests that match a specific query. So notice that I have a plural on here because this is going to be a query set that I'm returning. It's not a single friend request. So what I want to do is objects.filter, and I want to actually first I'm going to go up to the view and do word wrap so I don't occupy too much space. And I want to do sender equals me, so that's going to be the user, and the receiver is going to be the receiving user that I just searched right there. So sender is me, receiver is the receiver that was passed as an argument to this request, and is active is going to equal true. We only are interested in active friend requests. Now, if there is an exception, right away we want to say, okay, something went wrong. Let's return. So response equals nothing. So nothing to cancel. There was no request to be found. Friend request does not exist. So then we would just do nothing basically. But if there is, then we want to get that specific friend request. And this is a query set. So we need to make sure that we get the first entry, I guess, in that query set. This theoretically should be a query set with only one entry. So we want to get that first entry. So I'll write a little comment here saying there should only ever be a single active friend request at any given time. Cancel them all. So cancel them all just in case. So if somehow there ends up being more than one friend request, it's active. In that case, we want to cancel them all. That should never happen. But if it happens to happen somehow, then we want to cancel them all. So we would say if the length of that friend request query set is greater than 1, which is a scenario that should not ever happen. In that case, I want to do for request in friend requests and loop through those and call friend request.cancel on each one of those. And then after that, do our payload. So I'll actually copy this because we're going to be using it a bunch more times. Do payload equals, so payload equals, and just do friend request canceled. So friend request canceled with 2 L's and then a period. So this will be like our success case. That means, you know, everything worked out, even though technically there shouldn't have been ever more than one friend request, but it doesn't matter because we've now fixed the problem. So if there is only one, it would be like, you know, we found the request, now cancel it. So now cancel it. So I do friend requests.first. That's how you get the first entry in a query set, and then just call .cancel, and then our payload will be exactly what we have here. So friend request canceled. Now I'm going to copy this again because we have to handle all of our kind of other cases up here. So looking up here, we have an if statement. So if the user ID. So let's handle the else case for that. So I'll do payload. I can just say, you know, unable to cancel that friend request, whatever you want, something more meaningful if you like. And then of course up here, if the request is not a post request or the user is not authenticated, then we want an else case, and that would be, this is the case that should never happen. There should be no way that a user gets to a position in the website where they're not authenticated and they can decline a friend request or cancel a friend request. So you must be authenticated to cancel a friend request. Theoretically, again, that should never happen. Now we want to return the HTTP response, json.dumps the payload, and then do content type. So content type equals JSON or application/JSON. Application/JSON. So there's our AJAX function that we're going to be executing for canceling a friend request. Now let's go into urls.py, just like we've done a whole bunch of times before. And I'll copy this function name, cancel friend request, paste it in there, and now let's build the URL. So notice, so the source code is different, by the way, from compared to the last video. If you recall, this was like accept friend request, and this one was decline friend request. So just so you know, like the source code is slightly different. It doesn't matter since we use URL shortcuts to access these always anyway, but just I basically made a mistake when I was writing it out on video. Well, not a mistake, I just wrote it out differently than what I had in the source code. So just kind of be aware of that. It doesn't really matter. So just so you know, like you're not doing anything wrong if you don't have this matched exactly with what I have here. So just kind of wanted to make sure I said that in case some of you were confused. So this cancel function, I'm going to put third here, and I'm going to call it friend request _ cancel, and then put in our cancel friend request case here, and the URL shortcut will be friend request dash cancel. So always important to have the URL shortcut, because then really the URL doesn't matter, just the shortcut matters. So pressing Control S on that. Now we need to build that AJAX function. So let's go into snippets just like we've done. Control S and cancel friend request will be the name of this one, or cancel friend request.html. Now open this up with a script tag, and let's write this AJAX function. So function cancel friend request, and it will take an ID parameter. That's going to be the ID of the receiver who's receiving that friend request, or in other words, who's going to have a friend request canceled on them. The UI update function, which we're going to invoke in onComplete, and then set the payload to a JSON object. Since we're doing a post request here, so we need to include the CSRF middleware token, like a security measure that Django has in place. And then we do CSRF token to get that value, get that token, so that the post request can be done. And then I want to set an argument or a payload argument, whatever you want to call it. I want to set the receiver user ID equal to that ID that's being passed up here to the function. Now we can build the AJAX. So $.AJAX, bracket, squiggly braces, open this up. Type will be a post request. The data type will be JSON, just like we've done in every single one of these requests. The URL we can get from our URL shortcut. Whoops, that was incorrect. There we go. So URL, single quotations, and we want to do friend request dash cancel. And there's no arguments, so that's all we need to do. Then go to the next argument. Data is going to be that payload that I defined above. You can set a timeout of 5 seconds or 5,000 milliseconds. And then our three cases, success, error, and complete. So success, function, data, open this up, comma, and then I want to copy that 2 more times. So paste, do error, do complete, and then we want to write in the logic for the complete case and the error case and all that. So you know what, just to save some time, let's actually just go into the decline friend request case, and you can copy all of this, copy success, error, and complete, because they're all the same, and just paste it in here. This is exactly the same as we do in every one of our AJAX functions that we've had so far. So I can just copy that. We just need to change the kind of success string. So friend request canceled is what we're looking for here. So let me just see, friend request canceled. That's like the success case. So let me just paste that in there. In that case, we don't want to do anything. It was successful. The page is going to reload. Then we want to do alert if there's an error, alert down here if there's an error, and then UI update function, which is going to reload the page after this is successful or not successful. So Control S on that. Now, the only place, if we go to our development environment, the only place that we can actually cancel a friend request is inside someone else's profile. So notice that I've sent Florian a friend request, and if I click, I want to be able to click cancel here when I'm looking at his profile. So I just need to go into account.html and scroll all the way to the bottom, look for cancel friend request, so I can uncomment this. Make sure friend is appended to the front, so your friend snippets, cancel friend request, and that looks good. So now come up here, uncomment cancel friend request. which is the function that will be executed. This is the one that we just built. So Control S on that. Now we can go to our development environment, and I'm going to refresh the page and click cancel, and let's see what happens. Boom, there we go. The friend request was canceled. Notice there's no longer a pending friend request, and I can do this all day. I can send him a friend request, cancel it, send it, cancel it, whatever I want. And if I check out Florian's perspective, so now he's here looking at my profile, and I go back to me looking at his profile, I can send the request. Now if I go to his profile from his perspective, I refresh it, boom, look at that. There's a friend request that's pending there. If I go back to my perspective and I cancel that, and then I go back to his perspective and refresh, there's no longer a friend request. So everything is working exactly as it's supposed to. So now we have the ability to do everything we need to regarding friend requests. We can send them, we can query them, we can remove them, we can cancel them, we can accept them, we can decline them. I think I said one of those twice, but anyway, we got them all. There should be 5 of them because I counted 6 there. But there should be 5: send, accept, decline, cancel, remove. That's the 5. Oh, it was 6 because I included query into that. But anyway, that was actually right. So we have all of the actions that we can do now. Next, we want to be able to query a friend list. So get a list of all the people who are your friend. And if we take a look at the development environment, that's going to be when we click here. So if I click on this should take me to a view that lists all of my friends. Very similar to like if you search a user, it should list that all of the users that match that search. It's going to be the same kind of thing when we click on the friends list. It's actually pretty much the same view. And you should be watching this video on codingwithmitch.com, not on YouTube. Codingwithmitch.com, 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 codingwithmitch.com.